Okay, there is a slide of belief in the existence of Imam Mehdi Alaihis salam, and there is a question actually that assuming the possibility of the hypothesis of the awaited leader with all its implications pertaining to his long lifespan, the imama at an early age, and the period of silent occultation, this possibility is not sufficient to convince one that he presently exists. Therefore, how can one presently believe in the existence of Imam Mehdi alayhi salam?
Notwithstanding the strangeness of such a hypothesis, and its being contrary to the ordinary course of nature, are a few traditions from the Prophet Muhammad S.A.W. narrated in books of hadith sufficient for totally convincing us about the 12th Imam? How is it possible to prove the historical existence of Imam Mehdi Alaihis, and how do we know that it is not a mere assumption created by psychological circumstances to establish it in the minds of a large number of people?
400 traditions of the Prophet Muhammad (SAW) transmitted only through chains of authorities belonging to our Sunni brothers have been identified, while the total number of traditions about Imam Mehdi (AS), including those transmitted by Sunni and Shia chains, is more than 6,000. This is a very large number, and one cannot find a similar number of traditions on any of the many Islamic matters which are considered as evident and which no Muslim usually doubts.
According to Islamic proof, it is in the form of hundreds of traditions transmitted from Prophet Muhammad (SAW) and the imams of the Ahlul Bayt al-Islam, and which identify Imam Mehdi al-Islam as belonging to the all Ahlul Bayt, stating that he is a descendant of Bibi Fatima salam alaiha in the lineage of Imam Hussein al-Islam and his ninth descendant. They also state that the Prophet's successors, Khulafa, are 12 in number. These traditions define the general notion and identify its embodiment in the person of the 12th Imam from among the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt.
There shall be 12 Imams, Khulafa or Umara in accordance with the varying texts of the traditions as transmitted by different chains, occurs in the form of narrations collected by some compilers, which form more than 270 narrations taken from the most famous Shiite and Sunni compilations of Hadith, including the works of Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud, Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his Musnad, and Al-Hakim in his Mustadrak, Al-Sahih.
Hence, he ﷺ said, "Indeed, there will be 12 Khulafa after me, and this Itnash Ashari Imami historical reality, which begins with Imam Mehdi Islam and terminates in Imam Mehdi Islam, is the sole rational interpretation of this noble prophetic tradition."
The lesser occultation of Imam Mehdi al-Ghaibat al-Sughra is the first stage in Imama of the awaited leader. May peace and God's blessing be upon him. It has been observed that if his occultation Ghaiba had occurred suddenly, it would have delivered a great blow to the community of adherents of the Imama within the Islamic Ummah. It would have given birth to a feeling of a great and catastrophic void which could shake the entire system and shatter its unity.
Therefore, it was necessary that there be a preparation period for this occultation so that the community might gradually get used to it and adapt itself. This preparation period was that of the lesser occultation, in which Imam Mehdi Islam remained hidden from the public, although he was in constant contact with them through his deputies. During this period, the task of representing the Imam was carried out by 4 persons, whose piety, God-fearing, and honesty was endorsed by the community within which they lived. They were Uthman ibn Sa'id al-Amri, Muhammad ibn Uthman ibn Sa'id al-Amri, Abu Qasim al-Hussein ibn Ruh, Abu al-Hasan Ali ibn Muhammad al-Samari.
Later, al-Samari, who was the last of the Imam Salam's deputies, announced the end of the phase of lesser occultation, which is marked by the presence of specifically appointed agents of the Imam, and the beginning of the greater occultation al-Ghaibat kubra, in which no specific persons were appointed as intermediaries between the Imam and his followers. This transition from the lesser to the greater occultation signifies the fulfillment of the goals of the former and the conclusion of its role, because through this gradual process it protected the Shia from a shock and confronting a great void arising from the occultation of the Imam salam.
Thus, from that of the directly appointed deputies during the lesser occultation, the mode of representation of the imam changed during the greater occultation to a general one by mujtahids of integrity al-mujtahid al-adil, possessing insight into temporal and religious matters.
An ancient saying states that falsehood is short lived, and the logic of life also proves that, in accordance with the law of probability, it is scientifically impossible for a lie of this proportion and extending over such a period to acquire the confidence of everyone around it throughout such continuous contacts and dealings. So that means that the ghibat of Imam is true.